Well, I might be biased because it's our innovation, but the idea, it's a very unique idea. We're the only platform right now with this concept where the goal is to build a one-stop shop platform for low-income people to have access to digital services, phone charging, and connectivity on the one platform. So I think that's what stands out the most for this innovation.
Right, of course, as you said earlier on, it's also good to know yourself, and at least you put it out that way. But let's now get back or deep into this awards. 2018 awards, keenly contested with over 3,000 plus people who actually applied to take part in this competition. What is actually the strategy that you are actually going to be putting in place in order to bag this prize money?
Same strategy I always use, show the impact that we have on the ground. Obviously, we already have kiosks on the ground. Show the scalability of the business. It's a huge scalable business, and we are already in Uganda. And also the empowerment. We focus on women and people with disability that operate those kiosks. And we have a huge empowerment, economic empowerment with this technology.
Right. So how there is the situation as far as the need for this kind of innovation is concerned when it comes to digital connectivity is concerned on the ground?
Well, if you look at the way services has been evolving, everything is moving digital. And the biggest opportunity also is connectivity. There's over 1 billion people that are not connected right now to the internet. But we went a step further also. It's not just internet connectivity, but it's also offline connectivity. So we build what we localize server within the kiosk where we can distribute content from the server standpoint, which is free for the user. So there's a huge opportunity for this technology. And we want to be on the forefront. What we've seen is most technology focusing on middle class, upper class. But the BOP, which we call the base of the pyramid, is always neglected. And we're trying to bring efficiency and conveniency to this, to this customer base using this technology. And that's really what the goal is.
The goal is that. But of course, looking back, if we turn back the arm of the clock, going back to when you started, I mean, it's been over 4 years, I think, when you started this particular operation. It definitely hasn't been an easy journey. If you can just share with us, what sort of stumbling blocks have you met on the way? How did you manage to brush them off your way to be able to get to this point where you're now being recognized for this kind of an award?
Yeah, so hardware is extremely difficult. Just like the name says, hardware, it's really hard. And it's hard because it's very expensive. And it's even more expensive for African entrepreneurs because there's no ecosystem in Africa, in East Africa, for example, in Africa as a whole, to develop a hardware technology. So the journey has been hard, mostly because we have to develop this technology overseas. We have to raise capital to develop this technology. And a lot of time, investors don't like to come in before the technology is already operational. So you have this chicken and egg scenario. So it's been challenging. And we've been in business 5 years, but this idea started in 2008. So it's been over 10 years journey for me personally.
Right. And so if you had the ear of those who are making policy decisions and also investors, potential ones, what would you be telling them right now?
Well, policy-wise, I mean, and I like to talk as an African, not just Rwanda or Uganda, but as an African. We need more funding for research and development. 100% of our research and development fund came from overseas. As a matter of fact, if it wasn't for one of our best partners, Green Tech Capital, I wouldn't be talking to you right now. So we have no physical funding here for research and development. I'm talking about hardware. On top of that, I'm not even going to talk about manufacturing, developing that technology hardware. I know now we have Fab Lab, but we're still not there. There is a long process for hardware development.
But why is that there is no that kind of an appetite for a country which has actually a whole ICT for development agenda?
Well, it's capital, right? So we have policies in place. I do agree. At least Rwanda is ahead of the game on a lot of areas. But there's still no capital. There's still no access to capital. If you look at innovation right now in Africa, 90%, above 90% of innovation is apps. It's only apps. Very few does hardware, and there's a reason for that. You need capital to do hardware. And the problem we see in Africa is we're still importing so much hardware innovation from overseas. And they tend to repackage themselves as African innovation. But until we fix the whole ecosystem of hardware development, we'll still be talking to one or two people in this ecosystem. And I'll tell you a perfect example,
right.
Home solar system. Home solar system is the biggest talk in Africa for the last few years. But if you look carefully of how many African, and I'm talking about African companies run by African entrepreneurs, that are actually in this space, it's less than 5%. That just tells you why there's a big problem to this.
Right. And we're talking about a very huge amount of money, right? And I want to know, can you feel it? Can you feel that you're going to bag this? And if you do bag this amount of money, what would be the immediate term projects that you'll be getting yourself involved in?
So right now we're moving to the next level of our technology. So the goal now is to make these kiosks as smart as possible. And IoT now allow us to do that. So that will be part of our development, IoT development and continuation of expansion. We have a goal of 20 countries in the next 10 years to bring this technology.
20 countries. And how do you manage to actually implement that?
So we are already in Uganda. We'll be in West Africa, one country in West Africa at the end of the year. And Nigeria is our goal for next year. We developed a very innovative business model. So we're not physically going to those countries. We're working with local partners and license the technology.
Okay. We wish you all the best, Henry.
Thank you.
And thank you.